Welcome to the Parkrun Brief, the weekly parkrun training podcast where I break down what we've published this week on parkruntraining.co.nz and turn it into practical coaching advice you can use this Saturday. I'm Coach Ray. I am a running coach who specialises in coaching beginner and recreational athletes to achieve their sporting as well as their health and fitness goals. Now in this Sunday's Sunday Reset, I wrote about the Runners Sunday Debrief, lessons, wins and next steps. Sunday isn't about chasing pace, it's about clarity. By now the dust has settled from yesterday's parkrun, the watch has been uploaded, the splits have been reviewed, maybe more than once. You've replayed those tough moments and hopefully the good ones too. But here's the thing, if you only log the run and move on, you miss half the value. The real progress happens in the debrief. Not a dramatic, overanalyzed breakdown, just a calm, honest reflection that turns experience into direction. And here's how to run your Sunday debrief properly. Start with the wins. Yes, even if you didn't PB, most runners just jump straight into what went wrong. Instead, begin here. What did I do well? Maybe you started more in control than usual, stayed mentally composed mid-run, finished stronger than you have last month, showed up despite low motivation, executed your pacing plan better. Wins are not just time-based, they're behavioural, and behaviours are what build long-term progress. Sunday Reset, write down 3 small wins from the week, not just from parkrun. Number 2, extract the lesson, not the emotion. Every run teaches something. The trick is separating fact from frustration. Instead of thinking, I was terrible, I always fade, I'm stuck. Ask, what actually limited me yesterday? Was it going out too hard? Carrying fatigue? Poor sleep? Lack of late race strength? Hesitation when discomfort hit? One clear lesson beats 5 vague criticisms. Sunday Reset, identify one specific limiter and write about it neutrally. Number 3, zoom out to the week. A single run doesn't tell the whole story. How did the week feel overall? Balanced or rushed? Strong sessions but poor recovery? Consistent but slightly flat? Too much intensity clustered together? Progress often stalls not because of one bad session but because of patterns. Your Sunday debrief should highlight patterns, not just moments. Number 4, choose one adjustment, only one. This is where most runners go wrong. They decide to run more, train harder, add extra intervals, fix everything at once. That really works. Instead, choose one controllable adjustment for the coming week. For example, keep the first kilometre calmer. Make easy runs truly easy. Finish one run strong. Get to bed 30 minutes earlier. Hydrate consistently. Small tweaks repeated beat dramatic changes abandoned. Number 5, reset your mind before Monday. Finally, close the mental loop. You are not yesterday's time. You are not your slowest kilometre. You are not defined by one finish line. What matters is momentum. Take 2 to 3 quiet moments today to breathe slowly and decide how you want to approach this week. Not what you want to achieve, how you want to run it. Examples, calm and controlled, consistent over perfect, strong finishes, recovery first. Write it down. That becomes your anchor when Wednesday feels heavy or motivation dips. The purpose of the debrief. The Sunday debrief isn't about judgment, it's about direction. When you consistently reflect, you stop reacting emotionally to runs and start responding intelligently. That's when training becomes calmer, smarter, and more effective. Saturday tests you, Sunday teaches you, next Saturday rewards you. Pause, review, adjust, move forward. For the Saturday Spark, how to turn a tough parkrun into training gold. Not every parkrun feels good. Some Saturdays the legs are heavy, the breathing feels harder than expected, The pace you know you can run just isn't there. In those moments, it's easy to label the run as a failure and move on. But here's the reframe that matters. A tough park run can be one of your most valuable training sessions if you know how to use it. First, drop the emotional label. The fastest way to waste a tough park run is to beat yourself up about it. Tough doesn't mean bad. Slow doesn't mean unfit. Struggle doesn't mean regression. Usually means one of three things: accumulated fatigue, poor recovery, or external stresses, sleep, work, life. None of these erase your fitness. They just change how it shows up today. Identify what the run actually gave you. Even when pace drops, something useful is still happening. A tough park run might have trained mental resilience, pacing under fatigue, form when tired, patience and restraint, or honest effort without your ego. These qualities matter just as raw speed. Ask yourself, what did I practice today that I usually avoid? That's your gold. Use the data, not the drama. Instead of replaying the run emotionally, review it practically. Look for where the effort rose, when rhythm was lost, how the first kilometre felt, whether the fade was sudden or gradual. This turns frustration into feedback, and feedback drives improvement. Adjust, don't overcorrect. The biggest mistake after a tough park run is panic training. You don't need extra hard sessions. You don't need more intensity. You don't need punishment workouts. You need clarity. Often the fix is simple. Easier, easy runs. Better sleep. One quality session done well. Patience. Tough runs don't require heroic responses. They require smart ones. The Saturday Spark takeaway: a tough park run isn't a step backwards. It's information. When you drop the emotion, identify the lesson, review calmly, and adjust intelligently, you turn frustration into progress. Use the tough days. They're doing more for your long-term improvement than you think. For the Friday Fast Track, wrote about my 18-minute tempo workout. And an 18-minute tempo sits right in the sweet spot for park runners who want to build real strength without turning the session into a grind. It's long enough to demand focus and discipline, but controlled enough that you finish feeling confident rather than cooked. This Friday's Fast Track workout is about patience, rhythm, and learning to sit comfortably at a challenging pace. Warm up, 10 minutes at level 2, easy relaxed running. Main set, 18 minutes at level 3, tempo effort. Cool down, 10 minutes at level 2. Post run, 10 minutes of gentle stretching. Why this works for park run. Tempo running is one of the most effective tools to improve 5K performance. An extended effort like this teaches your body and your brain how to stay composed when the work starts to bite. For park runners, this session helps you build strong aerobic endurance, improve pacing discipline over sustained efforts, increase comfort at comfortably hard speeds, reduce a late race fade, and make your parkrun pace feel more manageable. 18 minutes is long enough to simulate the sustained pressure of a hard parkrun without tipping into threshold territory. How it should feel. Steady and purposeful from start to finish. Breathing is controlled but clearly working. You could speak a word or two, but not a sentence. The final few minutes feel tough, yet controlled. If the pace drifts or the effort spikes late, dial it back slightly. Consistency is the goal. My tip, break the 18 minutes into 3 quiet 6-minute segments in your head. Settle early, stay relaxed through the middle, and hold your form in the final third. This session rewards restraint, the same skill that separates strong park runs from ones that fade late. Want to finish your next park run stronger and more in control? Grab my free guide, Stronger for Parkrun, a quick routine to finish your 5K better. It's a simple, effective strength session you can add after any run, including today's Friday Fast Track workout. Why parkrun gets harder before it gets faster. One of the more confusing phrases of parkrun training happens when things start to feel harder, but the times don't improve. You might notice it as heavy legs in the second half, or a sense that you're pushing just as much, if not more, for the same result. Or that familiar thought keeps creeping in afterwards. I don't get it. I'm trying. This stage often catches runners off guard because it feels backwards. Surely if training is working, parkrun should feel easier, not tougher. In reality, this is often what happens right before a meaningful change, especially once the easy gains of early consistency have worn off. In the first article in this series, I talked about why parkrun plateaus happen even when you're doing everything right, and how consistency eventually stops being enough on its own. If that resonated, it's worth reading that first, because what follows is usually the next experience runners have. Now, the link for why parkrun plateaus happen even when you're doing everything right is in the description down below. Once runners sense that their usual routine isn't moving the needle anymore, they often respond instinctively by trying harder. That effort usually shows up on Saturday. The start gets quicker, the early kilometres feel more urgent, there's a sense of needing to force something to happen. The problem is, this kind of effort doesn't come from confidence, it comes from uncertainty. And uncertainty makes pacing messy. Instead of settling into an effort you trust, you end up reacting to other runners, to small changes in terrain, to how your legs feel in that moment. By halfway, the run feels tense rather than controlled, and the second half becomes something to survive rather than execute. From the outside, it looks like you're pushing. From the inside, it feels harder than it should. That's the paradox of this phase. The harder parkrun feels, the less useful it is as a place to build fitness. It becomes a weekly test, not part of the process. This doesn't mean effort is the enemy. It means effort needs context. When training lacks clear structure during the week, parkrun ends up carrying too much weight. It becomes the session that's meant to do everything. Fitness, confidence, validation, progress. That's a lot to ask of a single 5K. Runners who eventually move through this phase usually do something quietly different. They stop asking parkrun to prove their fitness and start using the week to prepare it. That preparation doesn't have to be dramatic. It's really about adding more runs or chasing exhaustion. More often, it's about giving each run a clearer job so that Saturday no longer feels like a gamble. When that shift happens, parkrun still feels honest, but not frantic. Hard, but not desperate. Challenging, but familiar. That's usually when times start to move again. If you're currently in that in-between space where parkrun feels harder without feeling better, it's worth pausing before pushing more. Very often that feeling isn't a sign that you're falling behind, it's a sign that the way you're training needs a bit more direction. And that starts with understanding why things feel the way they do right now, not just trying to outwork them. A next useful step. If you've read this and thought, that explains exactly how parkrun feels right now, the next step isn't to guess or push harder. It's to work out why things have become harder without becoming faster, and what actually needs to change next. I've put together a short diagnostic for parkrunners that helps pinpoint where progress is stalled, even if you've been doing plenty of things right. It's not a training plan, it's not a list of tips, it's designed to help you understand your current pattern clearly so you can decide what to do next with confidence. You can download it with the link in the description. Why your parkrun hasn't improved in 6 months and what to change. Sometimes clarity is all that is missing. On Parkrun Power Tip on Wednesday, use tech moderately, stop reliance on splits. Why this matters: GPS watches and running apps are brilliant tools until they start running the show. When you rely too heavily on splits, every fluctuation in pace can pull your focus away from how you actually feel. A slow split can trigger panic. A fast one can tempt you into pushing too hard. At Parkrun, your goal isn't to chase perfect numbers. It's to run well. Learning to use tech moderately helps you stay present, pace more naturally, and finish stronger. Tech should support, not control. Splits are estimates, not judgments. GPS lag, tree cover, tight turns, and crowded starts all affect accuracy. Yet many runners treat each kilometre split like a verdict on their performance. Instead of reacting to every beep, use your watch as a reference point, not a command. Learn to trust effort and feel. Your body gives you constant feedback, breathing rhythm, leg turnover, posture and relaxation, ability to speak a short phrase. These cues are often more reliable than a fluctuating pace reading, especially in the middle of a parkrun when conditions vary. Practical ways to reduce split dependence. Check early, then disengage. Glance at pace in the first kilometre to confirm that you're not flying out too fast. Run the middle by feel. Focus on effort, form and rhythm rather than numbers. Use landmarks, not beeps. Associate effort with parts of the course you know. Hide the screen. Set your watch to show only time or distance on race day. You'll be surprised how freeing this feels. When tech still helps, technology still has its place. Reviewing runs after the fact, tracking long-term trends, confirming progress over weeks and months. The key is separating training analysis from race execution. Why this makes you a better park runner. Using tech moderately reduces mental stress, improves pacing consistency, prevents emotional overreactions, encourages confidence and composure, helps you finish with intent rather than doubt. The strongest runs often come when you stop chasing the watch. Final takeaway, your watch is a tool, not a coach, judge or limiter. Use tech to support your preparation, then let go on parkrun day. When you stop relying on splits and start trusting your effort, you run freer, smarter and stronger. For the parkrun progress report, 5K with walk breaks and why that's not a failure. Not every 5K goes to plan, and not every 5K needs to be run continuously to be a valuable step forward. This not parkrun progress report looks at Gareth Evans' Wellington Waterfront 5K, where he completed the distance in 30 minutes and 30 seconds on a flat course using a combination of running and short walking breaks to manage effort and get to the finish line. From a coaching perspective, this is a really important performance to unpack because the data shows this was not a lack of fitness, effort or commitment. Instead, it highlights the very common challenge for recreational athletes, durability. The overall picture, Gareth's elapsed splits were first kilometre 5:19, second kilometre 5:25, third kilometre 6:12, fourth kilometre 6:45 and fifth kilometre 6:35. The walking breaks begin during the third kilometre, increasing slightly through the fourth kilometre and were most noticeable in the fifth kilometre. Importantly, these walking breaks were short and purposeful, not long stops, and they allowed Gareth to keep moving forward rather than completely blowing up. The opening kilometres, ambitious, can't even get that word out, ambitious but controlled. The first 2 kilometres tell us a lot. First kilometre, normalised power of 327 watts, average heart rate of 147 beats per minute, and a cadence of 165. The second kilometre, normalised power was 317 watts. Its average heart rate was 157 beats per minute and cadence of 164. These are not reckless numbers. Cadence is steady. Heart rate is rising but under control, and power output is relatively consistent. However, this level of effort turned out to be just slightly above what Gareth could sustain continuously for the full 5 kilometres on the day. This is a classic scenario for runners who are on the edge of running the distance without walking. Close enough to be confident, but not quite durable enough yet. Where the run changed. Loss of economy, not motivation. Things shifted through during the third kilometre when Gareth had his first walking breaks. Third kilometre normalised power was 271 watts. Average heart rate of 157 and a cadence of 157. Sorry, his average heart rate was 155. Power and cadence both drop while heart rate stays relatively high. That combination points to a loss of running economy, not a loss of effort. In simple terms, Gareth was still working hard, but his body couldn't keep producing the same mechanical output while running continuously. The brief walking breaks allowed him to reset rather than completely collapse. The middle kilometres, walking as a regulation tool. During the 4th kilometre, normalised power of 265 watts, average heart rate 148 beats per minute, and cadence of 153. Heart rate stabilises and power drops slightly further. This shows the walking breaks were doing their job, controlling the effort, not ending the run. For many runners, this is the difference between finishing the event and having to stop altogether. The most encouraging sign, Gareth could re-engage late. Despite the most substantial walking break occurring during the 5th kilometre, the data shows something really positive. The 5th kilometre normalised power of 284 watts, average heart rate of 152 beats per minute, and cadence of 154. Power lifts again, cadence improves slightly, and heart rate rises. And in the final 50 metres, Gareth averaged 4:46 pace, 369 watts, and a cadence of 170. This matters. It tells us Gareth wasn't empty. He still had the ability to turn the legs over and push when asked. The limiter wasn't courage or motivation. It was how long he could hold continuous running at the chosen effort. The key coaching takeaway. This run highlights a really important distinction. Walking doesn't mean you failed the 5K. It means you managed it. Gareth didn't give up. He made smart, instinctive decisions to regulate effort and keep progressing forward. The next step isn't to run harder, it's to build durability. So the same effort can be held for longer before walk breaks are needed. What improves this performance next time? The pathway forward is clear. Slightly lower opening intensity. Better early restraint on power. Gradual extension of continuous running time. Confidence that fitness is there. It just needs time to consolidate. With consistent training, this exact run-walk pattern often turns into a fully continuous 5K faster than most runners expect. Want help building your own 5K durability? If your goal is to reduce or remove walking breaks, improve pacing, and run your parkrun or 5K with confidence, Parkrun Kickstart is designed for exactly this situation. Join Parkrun Kickstart, the link down in the description. And if you'd like a personalised breakdown of your own parkrun or 5K performance, you can apply for your own parkrun progress report with a link down in the description. Ka kite anō, and all the best for your next run.